Could you elaborate on why this unified approach is so crucial for enabling these real-time AI capabilities?
It really comes to the nature of AI itself. AI needs more than data. It needs fresh, contextual, and trustworthy signals. Well, batch systems were built for insight. They process data hours or days later, right? So again, what I mentioned before, it's fine for reporting, but it means your AI is always going to be one step behind. The unified streaming platform flips that model from data at rest to data in motion.
What are the capabilities that a unified streaming data platform should have in order to support real-time AI?
That there are 7 critical capabilities, actually, which can truly define a unified streaming platform. Let us start with the first one. It's all about universal connectivity and simplification. The ability to plug into virtually any source or sink, databases, SaaS apps, IoT feeds, while you abstract away the complexity from that, and developers and data scientists can actually focus on building outcomes, not just wrestling with the infrastructure.
Welcome to the Don't Panic, It's Just Data podcast, where we have a weekly conversation with people impacting the enterprise tech landscape. My name is Christina Stathopoulos, and I will be your host today. After building out an advanced analytics career in big tech, I am now the founder of Dare to Data, on a mission to help individuals and corporations take the next step in their data and AI journey. In today's episode, we're joined by Vladimir Jandreski, Chief Product Officer at Ververica, and we'll be diving into the pivotal role unified streaming data platforms play in powering operational and real-time AI. Together, we're going to explore real-world applications and take a glimpse into the future of this rapidly evolving technology. Welcome to the show, Vlad. It's great to have you. Before we dive in, could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you and your team do at Ververica.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for the nice intro. I'm happy to be here, and a little bit about myself and what we do at Ververica. Well, I'm the same, as you said, I'm the Chief Product Officer. I focus on shaping the product strategy, ensuring we deliver innovation that truly empowers organizations to unlock the value of their data in real time. Well, at Ververica, we are best known as the original creators of Apache Flink and pioneers in stream processing. Our mission today is to help enterprises move beyond batch-driven architectures and embrace unified streaming platforms that make AI smarter, faster, and more trustworthy. I'm really excited to be here today and share some of the lessons we've learned from working with global enterprises, the challenges they face in scaling AI, and how real-time streaming data is becoming the backbone of the next generation of AI-driven organizations. So I think we can go on and do a deep dive in all these different aspects.
And one thing I wanted to ask before we get into this, one thing we were talking about right before we jumped on the show is the meaning of Ververica. Can you tell the audience what Ververica means?
Exactly. It's a first of all, we know it's a very hard name to pronounce, but it comes out from the Slavic name for a squirrel, which is, by the way, by some chance, the logo of Apache Flink. And that is our story. That is the message that we are sending. And that's our flagship and something that defines us.
Yeah, I love this this mascot because I have a squirrel with me in my office as well. So I liked this little connection that we found. So I know that our listeners are going to get so much out of this chat. So let's jump right into it. Most organizations are in the early stages of their AI journeys today. And even though there's this huge potential for transformation, let's be honest, there's many obstacles that stand in the way. So what are you seeing as the key blockers, these critical elements that organizations are missing when it comes to implementing AI effectively?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. And we at Ververica have been constantly hearing from our customers, from the market, about different blockers, which I'm going to segment in 3 different areas. Well, I'm going to start with the first, and let's say the most obvious for us. It's going to be an outdated batch architectures. A lot of the companies that are still built today around batch first data systems. That means which they are processing data in chunks, maybe once an hour or once overnight. For reporting, that's fine. But for AI, which is supposed to respond in the moment, like detect fraud, recommend a product or reroute a shipment, batch pipelines are simply too slow. Well, they create lag, and lag kills the business value of AI. That is the first thing that I'm going to mention. And the second one is like the issue is fragmentation, or having fragmented and untrustworthy data. That means the data sits in silos, for example, in different databases, SaaS apps, warehouses, on-prem systems. Simply, there is no single view of the truth that exists. And on top of that, if you add like governance and data quality checks, these are often inconsistent. Well, AI systems end up consuming incomplete or even conflicting signals. And as the saying goes, like garbage in, garbage out. If your data is not reliable, your AI decisions won't be either. So the fragmentation is a real issue, and governance and data quality checks are on top of that, adding further to the complexity of the problem. The last and most important point for me, it's going to be like the actual foundation to support the real-time AI. Often, a lot of the organizations will not have the foundation. They're missing what we call a unified streaming data platform that can actually capture, process, serve data continuously at scale. Well, without such a foundation, teams are forced to stitch together, for example, point solutions. One can be for ingestion, another one can be for processing, and another one for storage. And all that will introduce, like in the organization, a lot of complexity, a lot of fragility, and pretty much high operational cost. A true streaming platform, data platform, brings everything together in one place, ensuring that that AI can operate on data which is that's real time, that is consistent, and that is governed, which is very important. To put simply, companies need to move beyond batch, unify their data foundation, and embrace streaming as the backbone of AI. Without solving these three blockers, we believe that that even the best AI strategies will stall out. So, yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, I've covered the three aspects, and of course, there might be even more to the story, but this is where we see the biggest blockers for an organization to properly implement AI in their infrastructure.
So the batch processing, the fragmentation, and that last piece is really important, the unified streaming data platform. I'd like to explore that piece more with you. So could you elaborate on why this unified approach is so crucial for enabling these real-time AI capabilities? And you alluded to it. You mentioned about fraud and these types of things going beyond just reporting. And also clarify what sets it apart from the traditional batch processing systems, and what challenges does it help companies overcome in their road to AI?
Absolutely. The reason why a unified streaming data platform is so crucial, it really comes to the nature of AI itself. AI needs more than data. It needs fresh, contextual, and trustworthy signals. Well, batch systems were built for insight. They process data hours or days later, right? So again, what I mentioned before, it's fine for reporting, but it means your AI is always going to be one step behind. The unified streaming platform flips that model from data at rest to data in motion. So instead of analyzing after the fact, it will continuously capture the pulse of your business and feed it directly to the AI, so decisions can be actually made in the moment. And looking ahead, this is not only about today's use cases. We're entering the era of agentic AI, where autonomous agents that make real-time decisions, maintaining memory, using tools, and also collaborate amongst themselves. The real challenge here isn't building the agents, it's actually giving them the right infrastructure. Take, for example, like any AI prototyping frameworks such as LangChain or Llama Index. They're fine for demos, but in reality, they can't really support a long-running system-triggered workflows that demand high availability, fault tolerance, and deep integration with the enterprise data. As we know, enterprises have a lot of different systems, a lot of not connected systems, and where data is simply there, as I mentioned before, sitting in silos. Well, that's where the unified streaming data platform comes in. It will provide like the real-time, event-driven, contextual runtime where these agents can move from the lab experiments to production reality. In short, it's the difference between reactive analytics and proactive autonomous intelligence.
Okay, I like that. So it's reactive analytics to, what was it? Proactive
To
autonomous.
proactive autonomous intelligence.
Yeah, that makes sense. The next step that everybody needs to take. So I think the benefits are clear to me. Now, Ververica is well known for its expertise in stream processing, and also, as you mentioned, for being the creators of Apache Flink with your mascot of a squirrel. So, what are the capabilities that a unified streaming data platform should have in order to support real-time AI? What does it need to have to make that happen?
Again, a perfect question, and this is something that we have given it a lot of thought. What actually defines a streaming data platform? And that there are 7 critical capabilities actually, which actually can truly define a unified streaming platform. Let us start with the first one. It's all about universal connectivity and simplification. The ability to plug into virtually any source or sink, databases, SaaS apps, IoT feeds, while you abstract away the complexity from that, and developers and data scientists can actually focus on building outcomes, not just wrestling with the infrastructure. That's number one. As we said, like the nature of Apache Flink, real-time responsiveness. Sub-second, ultra low latency processing actually allows AI systems to act as the event unfolds, not hours or days later. The third one is for us is the advanced stream processing. Of course, you can it can be real time. You can connect to all of these different sources, but you need to transform the data, you need to enrich it, and you need to do stateful computations that go far beyond like simple ingestion, which can enable AI-ready features to be generated on the fly. The other one is you want to have a platform which can expand or contract instantly to match unpredictable AI workloads, while still keeping the cost efficiency in check across hybrid and multi-cloud environments. The fifth one, it's you have to have a resilient and fault-tolerant platform. That this has to come with an enterprise-grade reliability, where you have, for example, exactly once guarantees. You don't want to have duplicated data. You want to have an automatic failover when something fails. You want that built-in durability to ensure that AI-driven systems remain always on and are dependable. And of course, nothing goes on without having the governance, the security, and the trust. You need to have fine-grained access controls, strong compliance tooling. And for example, full lineage tracking, so organizations can actually trust every AI decision and also meet at the same time the regulatory obligations. And the last one for us is actually having a platform with an open architecture, which can integrate seamlessly with broader data and AI ecosystems, which avoids lock-in and supports the continuous innovation. So that is what defines for us a streaming data platform. It has to have all these capabilities. It moves beyond, as I said before, the actual demo prototyping. This is not included in them. You need to have the foundation to be able to set up for your success for your AI strategies.
Okay, it makes sense. So you went through these 7 key areas that you would really need to be able to create this platform, right? And I think it all makes sense given that we're in this age of AI, the age of agentic AI, as you mentioned. Do you see a lot of companies, they're still stuck with these more batch processing systems, and they don't have the capabilities that you mentioned in these 7 areas?
Absolutely. That is why, let's say, a lot of the strategies cannot be successfully implemented because they simply lack the foundation. Batch systems in place, implementing agentic AI is simply not possible. It doesn't give you the actual foundation as we just spoke before. So having the right foundation is key to enable this. And a lot of organizations are struggling today just because of that reason. AI might sound fancy and nice, but when it comes to really having AI, let's say production grade AI, it takes much more. Enterprises have a lot of legacy systems around, a lot of disconnected systems. So unifying that batch and stream together is the key. That's where the unified streaming data platform comes into place.
Yeah, I can relate with this a lot with my strategic work. I see it all the time that people want to jump to these fancy terms and all the fancy, shiny objects. but you can't forget the foundations that you're talking about. You can't do that if you don't set up the foundational elements that you've mentioned. It's incredibly important. Now, real-time AI is a powerful concept, as you've said. It's absolutely necessary now, but it often, I think, becomes clearer if we can give practical applications. So let's do that. Could you share a real-world use case where a unified streaming data platform has been instrumental in enabling this effective real-time AI for a company?
Yeah, without putting it into practice, it's also hard to explain the value of it. Let's start with a very common use case that we have seen across across our customers. And I'm going to go into one where we are especially seeing it as a key driver, which is the fraud detection in financial services. One of our customers, which is the world's largest financial credit card institution, is using our platform to perform feature engineering on every single transaction that happens globally. You can imagine that is millions and billions of events being processed. So we're talking about those billions of events per day, where the platform actually generates the real-time features needed to feed the AI models. Things like spending patterns or geolocation context or velocity checks all happens within sub-second level latency, in flight and at a global scale. This gives their AI systems the ability to make smarter, more contextualized decisions and instantly, whether that's approving a transaction, flagging potential risk, or personalized customer engagement, which goes also beyond the fraud detection that I just mentioned at the beginning. Well, these use cases actually illustrate how a unified streaming platform isn't just about fast data. It's about enabling reliable, governed, and AI-ready pipelines that actually can operate at both microsecond level speed and also massively at a global scale to support the business of such a large organization.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And you gave this example in finance and fraud. And may I ask if you see what are other like industries where you see this being very useful for outside of the finance and fraud example?
Absolutely. E-commerce, it's a very common use case where recommendations on the fly are simply the key today. It takes a customer like a fraction of a second to decide whether he buys the next thing or not. So again, having these big systems on a large scale and enabling these recommendation systems, it's another use case that we see very common today, and also the key for the success also of that organization that becomes more and more popular today.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, as we come to a close, I've got one last question for you, a very important one, I think. If you had to share a 60-second takeaway message for CIOs, CTOs, other IT decision makers from our conversation today, what would it be and why?
My message is simple. AI without real-time, governed and adaptable data won't scale. To succeed, you need a unified streaming data platform that unifies both batch and streaming. Well, it can handle evolving data gracefully and can also enforce strong governance. Looking ahead, as agentic AI is becoming more and more popular and taking hold, AI agents that observe, plan, and act, which I mentioned, from fraud prevention to even supply chain automation, you'll need a streaming-first infrastructure that supports continuous, stateful, and autonomous workflows. And as I mentioned before, it isn't just about speed. It's about trust, resilience, and adaptability. So that's the foundation for turning AI from a promising experiment into a true competitive advantage.
Perfect. Well, you all heard it straight from Vlad himself. The companies that act on data in real time are going to be the ones leading in AI. Thank you so much, Vlad, for joining us today. I appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners did too. Also, thank you to everyone who tuned in. We hope you took a lot away from today's podcast. And for further information on what we've talked about, please head over to ververica.com, ververica.com. We'll be back next week with another episode in our podcast series. Until then, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms and follow the conversation on our socials at EM360 Tech on X and LinkedIn. And for more great daily content, head on over to em360tech.com.